Hello everyone, welcome back to the World Conflict Monitor channel, and please don't forget to subscribe because today we are diving deep into a dramatic and rare clash in the skies that has fascinated analysts and aviation enthusiasts for years. The story of when MiG-29s ambushed Eagles is not just about two fighter jets locking horns, it is about technology, tactics, nerves of steel, and how even the most advanced machines of their time could find themselves outmaneuvered in the right circumstances. Before we go layer by layer into the aircraft themselves, let's begin with the short summary of the story. The incident revolves around sudden encounters where MiG-29 Fulcrums, often underestimated by Western observers, managed to catch the mighty F-15 Eagles in situations that tested the limits of design, training, and quick decision-making. The ambushes were not always about total victories, but about showing the world that air combat is never decided solely on paper. That is the heart of this tale, when an underdog weapons system with daring pilots challenged a legend of the skies and reminded everyone that in war, there are no guarantees. The exterior of both aircraft tells us a lot about the design philosophy. The MiG-29, designed by the Soviet Union in the late 1970s, carries a sleek, compact airframe with twin tails and widely spaced engines that provide superb agility. Its curved fuselage and blended wing roots were meant to keep the aircraft stable at extreme angles of attack, a feature that impressed even NATO pilots who later trained with them. In contrast, the F-15 Eagle was designed by McDonnell Douglas to dominate the skies with raw power and presence. The Eagle's high-mounted, broad wings and tall vertical stabilizers give it a commanding look, signaling its ability to climb faster, fly higher, and stay in control during supersonic maneuvers. When you place the two side by side, you notice how the Fulcrum appears almost like a predator cat, lean and fast, while the Eagle looks like a broad-shouldered warrior ready to absorb punishment and strike from a position of dominance. Step inside the cockpit, and the philosophies diverge even more. The interior of the MiG-29 was built around Soviet doctrines that emphasized quick reactions in close combat. It was not as comfortable or as information-rich as Western cockpits. Analog dials dominated the panels, with only limited heads-up display features compared to American jets of the same era. Yet, for the pilots trained under Soviet systems, this stripped-down design meant fewer distractions and faster response under pressure. By contrast, the F-15 interior represented cutting-edge avionics integration for its time. The cockpit was spacious, fitted with advanced radar screens, multifunctional displays, and ergonomically placed controls to reduce pilot workload. Western pilots often spoke of how the cockpit felt like an extension of their thoughts, turning data into decisions without delay. In short, where the MiG relied on raw pilot skill and instinct, the F-15 relied on technology amplifying a pilot's awareness and options. Performance is where the two aircraft began to clash most fiercely. The MiG-29 could accelerate rapidly, had excellent thrust-to-weight ratio, and its ability to execute high-G maneuvers at low altitudes gave it surprising advantages in close-range engagements. Its maximum speed exceeded Mach 2.2, and its climb rate was enough to make even seasoned NATO pilots cautious when facing it in dogfight exercises. The F-15 Eagle, however, was a machine built for dominance across the full spectrum of aerial combat. With its twin Pratt & Whitney engines, the Eagle had raw thrust that allowed it to carry heavy loads without sacrificing agility. It could climb to over 60,000 feet, sustain high speeds, and remain stable in supersonic conditions that would challenge most other fighters. In long-range engagements, the Eagle usually held the edge, but in the ambushes we are describing, performance in sudden, close encounters often meant the difference between escaping or being locked into a deadly duel. Safety features in both jets reflect the different operating environments. The MiG-29 had rugged construction, designed to operate from shorter, less prepared runways across Eastern Europe and the Soviet sphere. Its landing gear was sturdy, able to handle rough strips, and its systems included redundancies that allowed damaged jets to limp back to base. Ejection seats were among the most reliable in the world, giving pilots a chance to survive even low-altitude emergencies. The F-15 Eagle prioritized pilot survival and mission endurance with advanced warning systems, redundant hydraulics, and one of the safest ejection systems in NATO service. There are well-documented cases where F-15s returned safely to base after sustaining unbelievable damage, proving just how much emphasis the designers placed on keeping their pilots alive. When we talk about unique selling points, both aircraft shine in very different ways. The MiG-29's greatest strength was its agility and the element of surprise. With advanced infrared search and track systems, it could detect enemies without relying on radar emissions that might give away its position. Combined with helmet-mounted sights and the deadly R-73 Archer missile, the MiG-29 gave its pilots an edge in short-range combat that sometimes shocked Eagle crews used to fighting at longer ranges. The F-15 Eagle's unique selling point was its kill record. With over 100 confirmed aerial victories and no air-to-air combat losses for decades, the Eagle became the gold standard of Western air superiority. Its radar could track multiple targets, its AIM-120 AMRAAMs allowed it to kill from beyond visual range, and its reputation alone often gave it a psychological advantage. But during the ambushes, reputation was not always enough. The Fulcrum's sudden close-in attacks sometimes forced the Eagle into knife fights it preferred to avoid, reminding the world that even giants could be caught off guard. Now, if we imagine placing a price tag on these machines, the picture becomes even clearer. The MiG-29 was cheaper to build, maintain, and export. Many nations bought them as cost-effective alternatives to Western fighters, and they became symbols of national pride in countries from India to Poland. The F-15, by contrast, was extremely expensive, both in procurement and in lifetime maintenance. But with that price came unmatched capability, reliability, and global support networks. In a way, the MiG-29 was the scrappy contender, a jet you could afford to deploy in large numbers, while the Eagle was the premium heavyweight, fielded in smaller but more lethal fleets. As we move toward the conclusion, what do these ambushes really teach us? First, that no matter how advanced the machine, air combat still depends heavily on pilot skill, timing, and the situation in which an aircraft finds itself. Second, that design philosophies are not just about technology, they reflect doctrines, strategies, and even cultures. The MiG-29 was born in an environment where quick strikes, rugged reliability, and affordability mattered most. The F-15 came from a culture that prized air dominance, technological edge, and overwhelming superiority. When these two met unexpectedly, the clashes were a test of both philosophies, and the outcomes left lasting lessons for future generations of designers and strategists. The ambushes of Eagles by MiG-29s remain dramatic stories because they break the myth of invincibility. They show that even the most respected fighter can be challenged, that smaller nations with less costly machines can still play decisive roles, and that war is unpredictable. For aviation enthusiasts, it is a reminder that beneath the statistics and records, there are human pilots making life or death decisions in split seconds, inside machines that were pushed to their limits. For strategists, it is a case study in why complacency can be fatal and why constant adaptation is essential. And for viewers like us, it is an invitation to keep exploring the fascinating, dangerous, and ever-changing world of aerial combat. This has been an in-depth look at when MiG-29s ambushed Eagles, explained through the lenses of design, performance, and strategy. If you enjoyed this story and want more explorations of historic clashes, don't forget to hit subscribe, because here on World Conflict Monitor, we'll keep bringing you the most detailed looks into how machines and people shaped the conflicts of our time.